Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody, to the Monday Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast, made possible thanks to On SI. I am the Doc, John Macaroon, and I represent the Detroit Sports Podcast. Lots to talk about, even on a Monday. Hopefully, everybody avoided the roads. I'm about to get out there, maybe to drive out to Allen Park. I don't know. It's looking snowy out there, and I'm facing a 45-minute drive or more. So who knows? Maybe I'll get out there. A lot of you have good questions I want to ask, but I also got to weigh the safety of my time, and I don't want to sit in no 50-car pileup. 94 is a beast. I hope everybody survived their early drive. Roll call, where are you watching from today? Lots to talk about, probably over the next hour and a half. Brad Holmes stopped cooking. It was revealed, looking at his draft picks, the total number compared to the rest of the league. How are you going to cook when you're not making as many picks as other teams? That doesn't help. When you just look at it, if you just say 50% of picks don't hit, then it would behoove you to make more of them. How many picks did Brad Holmes make the last couple years? We'll talk about it. What's at stake for the Lions against the Bears? Listen, mission critical, lose the game. Mission critical, there is no point to this game. There is no point. Are you really going to get an evaluation of Jared Goff handing the ball off in the cold? There is no point but to move up in the draft. And I don't care what anybody tells you. The higher the higher you pick in the draft, the better the odds. Quite frankly, if you pick number one and you're somewhat decent as a general manager, you have a higher chance of hitting than if you're drafting 28. Proof in point. Terry and Arnold versus Aiden Hutchinson. Come on. Common sense. What's at stake for the Lions? Let's start with this. Watching last night's game between the 49ers and the Bears really made me jealous. Oh my goodness, I was jealous. You see, everybody poo-poos it and says, man, Jared Goff's weakness is no big deal. They'll work around it. You know how specific and how targeted Brad Holmes has to be? He's drafted 4 linemen. Mahogany, Miles Frazier, Tate Ratledge, Kobe Sorsdahl, Giovanni Manu, more, to try and rebuild the offensive line. It's not that easy. And the Slappies are just waving their magic wand and saying, hey, one off season and we're right back in the playoffs. It's not that easy. It's not that simple to have sustained success. It's not that simple. Now, the ramifications of losing this game against the Bears could help you, where you will know what level of talent you will face next year with the 4th place schedule. But tell me, you guys, if you were a football fan, weren't geeked to watch the 49ers against the Bears, and you saw Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy evading pressure, making moves, allowing the plays to extend, helping the offensive line. You think the offensive line likes hearing that this whole season for the Lions was a failure because of them? That is a specific challenge that is not just easy, where Brad Holmes waves his magic wand and good players show up. But people are starting to notice, oh, maybe you should have drafted Cooper Beebe. The Dallas center might have been a nice fit. Might have been an opportunity for Brad to cook. But maybe you go after the Ravens center, the free agent, and you, in my opinion, you call Frank Ragnow. But even then, can Frank Ragnow help this offensive line quickly? Maybe. But you may need to move on from Taylor Decker. So you gain a piece, you lose a piece. It's not that easy, but you do get a chance to see how impactful a quarterback can be. Brock Purdy, yeah, he throws picks, but he can evade the pocket. He can move. He can run. It is a weakness that is a challenge that you have to maneuver around. Now, again, it is not Jared Goff's fault that the season decayed. Clearly, everybody has a hand in it. Dan Campbell's coaching, his hiring practices, the offensive line struggled, the attitude of the players, they didn't get put in the right positions. Everybody's at fault. But if you start to look for solutions, a nice solution would be a mobile quarterback. Now, people get it confused. Add Jared Goff's arm, talent, ability to read defenses with Malik Willis's legs. Just athletic. I think we need to use a different word. And I guess here at the Lone Wolves podcast, we need a more athletic quarterback. because everybody, the code word, the psychological reference that people say is, oh, mobile quarterback is like a Lamar Jackson who pulls the ball down and runs first. No, a combination of Jalen Hurts, somebody that can move and evade pressure. Guys, defensive ends. Now, next year, Goff will have more success. He will throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. The schedule's ass. But the 5 beast turnover mode can come at you in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. The next 5 beast turnover mode for Jared Goff is coming in the playoffs. That's twice now. The Commanders last year and the Vikings. Everyone's like, stop with the 5 beast turnovers. The 5 turnover beast is inside of them. You are far away compared to the Seahawks, 49ers, and Bears. Now, their schedules will change next year, but you think that the Bears are just going to fall off the map. The Lions had a steady trajectory under Dan Campbell. I think the Bears might even have a chance if they can correct their time management, tidy up some crispness late in games, learning from the 49ers game. They might end up winning a Super Bowl. You have to have some athleticism. It's just the way it is. You have to have athleticism. Dolo Dynamite. Morning, Doc. Have you heard Dan and Brad was into it Saturday? Any truth to that? I have not heard that. Was into it Saturday. What happened Saturday? Over the weekend mode, I was chilling, watching a lot of football. I'm sure they're not happy with each other. We're going to talk about why Dan Campbell, if he was upset, would be. I have not heard that. But I've also stayed away. Last week, I did not go to the facility. I stayed my ass on this beautiful couch and this beautiful office. You think I want to go out there and talk to the players? Not versus sitting at home and podcasting with you fine people. Roll call. Where's everybody listening in at? I understand that Jared Goff will be the quarterback next year. You have to restructure his contract. Chad Lyons. O-line is garbage. You need a center. Quit blaming Goff. I'm not blaming Goff. He's also part of the solution. He's also part of the problem. There's no percentage blame. I think that's where all the people get all twisted. He's not part of the solution. Remember, the 5 turnover beast happened after a 15-win season in the playoffs against the Commanders. You need athleticism. It's just the way it is. That's why, to declare to you guys, and I riled it up yesterday on X, I was trading Jared Goff for Baker Mayfield. Now, that was just more of really the symbol of that comment was the Rams, to get over the hump from being a good team to get to a Super Bowl team, is they traded Goff. But I don't think the Lions are in that spot and the fans aren't for it. So that was just for those that are wondering, why would you put that out publicly? I put basically the exact Rams trade together, but for basically a worse quarterback than Stafford. But I just want to get a sense. Are you into trading? I don't think so. I don't think the fan base wants to trade Jared Goff. So I am now day 4 into QB hunting. My role is to deliver you a developmental quarterback in this draft that will be somebody that Jared Goff can teach. And Mike Valeni also brought that up on his show yesterday. But I beat Mike Valeni to it, and you guys know it here in the YouTube show and on X. I said that this year the Lions must draft the guy. This is the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers plan. So my job is to QB hunt. Listen, you guys can be satisfied with Jared Goff all you want. We need a center. We need this. We need that. We need that. Well, all those guys aren't making $50 million a year. All right. And I want greatness. I don't want just Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford. I want Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. I want legendary. I want to watch the guy. I want the number one guy. Is he in this draft? I'm looking. There's some interesting talent, but that's just me. I'm a lone wolf. I don't have to settle for nothing. I can reach the highest of high goals. I can do anything I want. I could fire Jared Goff. You know, I don't worry about, oh my God, what would happen if we get worse? Okay, we draft another quarterback. Does the league end if you draft a quarterback and it doesn't work? Happened to Hendon Hooker. Exactly. You shouldn't be satisfied. There's no rings, no playoffs. What are you satisfied with? He's got to be better. In the biggest game of the year, he had 5 turnovers. I don't care how many were his fault. They're 5 on his record. 5. Five. So that game made me jealous. Super jealous. That's how the game is moving towards. You can fall behind or you can move. And remember, your general manager looked for athleticism. It's not just coming from me. Your general manager drafted Hendon Hooker. Why did he draft Hendon Hooker? Athleticism. That's the way it's going. So don't just pin it on me and call me a Goff hater. You guys can be satisfied with that. I'm not, and I never will be. I am the hardest on quarterbacks. They make the most money. They're the ones that get the most criticism. Appreciate you, Chad. But I want more. I want more. Well, but he can't run. A normal human attribute for football. Exactly, Dolo Dynamite. You're not a Goff hater. You're realistic. I know most people that like the stream and understand what I'm talking about. I wrote on X, you can win a Super Bowl with Goff, but why can't we be the Chiefs and win 5? Look for it. The guy that drafted Dorsey's in your building. The guy that drafted Mahomes is in your building, and John Dorsey. He's in your building. You're like, why would you talk like that? The guy that helped pick Mahomes is in your building. DM5 TV. Goff is who he is, and I can never be satisfied with a guy that falls down or turns right into a sack when there's pressure or throws the ball at the ground. Goff runs like a baby giraffe. Gromit 0237. PZY5TO. Jared Goff made $241 million. Don't feel sorry for him. He's a good guy, but his mobility has killed us, along with injuries. I would trade St. Brown for picks, go with Tesla and JMO. Brad, you there? Oh my, the hot takes are flying. I thought my Baker Mayfield trade was hot. Trading St. Brown, hot. I love it. I love you guys and your willingness to try something. Roll call. Shout out to Wabat, TM Martin, Esquire 6216, PZY Thomas, Gromit, Steve Shimenti, the legend. Oh, hey, it's Jessica. Good comment. Goff can run. We've seen him take off for 15 yards. Yeah, when the defense parts like, when they're playing back because of JMO. Yeah, he can run, but not consistently. Go and watch the 49ers game. They were calling scrambles. They were calling opportunities where pressure came at Purdy and he evaded it and gained 4 yards consistently. Not once every 3 games. You just have to have athleticism more. Otherwise, you're putting the pressure on Brad Holmes to build a perfect offensive line. And remember, too, the funny part is really people treat stats in a way that's really weird. They're like, Goff threw for all these yards. Guys, in wins and losses against better opponents, there's different numbers. So we're presenting numbers, and we'll look at them. Let's look at Jared Goff's numbers in the 8 losses. We'll do that later this week. Goff's numbers in wins, what do you know? A little bit higher, more touchdowns, more yards. There's such thing as hollow stats. The pure number as is not the picture. You have to have what's called context, which is when did the stats happen? How far behind were they? Guys, it's real easy to have a great 80% percentage when your average depth of target is 6.2 yards. You understand? He's the most accurate passer in the world. I don't know what I would do with Baker Mayfield. Guys, Baker at least throws the ball deep to Mike Evans. The Lions neutered Goff. This is amongst his worst statistical years in air yards per pass. Lowest over 20-yard passes this season. Detroit Lions. Jared Dilfer ran your offense last year. Yeah, he's very accurate throwing 5 yards to Jahmyr Gibbs and 5 yards to St. Brown. Dear John Morton, force Amon-Ra to go down the field 25 yards and see what happens. Once a game. But they took it away. They took it away, Doc. Hit your super chats. We'll read them. You go right to the front of the line. Like the stream. Early 250 people. I'm going to be here till about 2:15. And remember, you may not hear my ideas directly on this show if you miss it, but a lot of the media are taking my ideas and incorporating them in their shows. I love it because I'm a listener. My little ideas make their way through the internet. Yeah, I like it. Mike Valeni likes my ideas. He brought it to his show, the Packer plan. I wouldn't do it in the first round. I don't think, in my 4 days of QB hunting, I feel like the fans are not happy with the first round quarterback. So you're making my job a little harder because I'm trying to make you guys happy. So I'm on my 4th day of QB hunting. You can follow. This may be a 700-day journey, but my job is to, if I say I want a better quarterback, my job is to find the guy that Jared Goff will teach. And this player, I promise I will not call for him to play. He will sit on his ass for 3 years and he'll learn from Jared Goff. And so when Goff cries and demands to be traded, we go to the next guy. $5 super chat on a Monday, midday doc stream. Let's go. Watching that Bears game was like a flashback. I was disgusted, throwing up, crying the whole time. F the Bears, especially late in the game, right when they pitched it back. I tweeted, I'm like, they're effing running the Lions offense. Are you effing kidding me? It was like watching the effing Lions. Man, that was tough to watch that Bears game. Entertaining, back and forth. Nobody's playing defense. Not a lot of 3 and outs. Colston Loveland, a tight end that's healthy, that stayed on the field this year. 2 running backs. DeAndre Swift got resurrected by Ben Johnson. But guess what? Ben Johnson learned the same whack-ass play clock management from the Lions. Clock's ticking under a minute, and that's why they were panicking late. You should have called the timeout right around a minute. Wrong execution by Ben Johnson. I think the next snap happened around 40 seconds. Wrong. I ain't say that. Appreciate you, man. $5 super chat. Leave your super chats. We'll read them. As many as humanly possible. That's awesome. Love it. Love the super chat. Love the become a member of the stream. You can have the super chats. You can have access to the emojis. Member only videos. I probably are going to shoot a couple today. For sure this week, member only videos will return. Last week was a holiday. This week we get back after him. And Broski Bear, Purdy is better than Goff already. I'm going to save the other quarterback for later this week. Is Caleb already better than Jared? We got to talk about it. Richard Pinkston, shout out to you. $5 super chat. My love for football this season is deader than a marriage after 20 years. Now I'm just here for the kids. I hate you, Brad Holmes. Listen, you can't hate somebody with inexperience. He's a pup. He is a scout. Now he's morphing into a general manager. This year, Rodimus Prime, if you're a Transformer fan, you had the boss man, you had the leader, Optimus Prime. Unfortunately, he gets run over by Megatron. The movie's great. I love that movie. Now you have to arise, Rodimus Prime. Boom, we're going to give Brad Holmes the mano. Boom. He gets the thing. And now this year he's going to pull the thing out. And he's going to arise, General Manager Brad Holmes, arise. And he's going to use all the tools. Don't hate Brad Holmes. You have to gain experience. In 2015, oh my God, if you listen to my podcast, you never thought that I would create a YouTube channel that would gain subscribers. You'd think this guy's a moron. But now I'm 15 years into this, where I have no problem throwing out a trade, where my colleagues are laughing at me. So what? It's an idea. And to tell them, because they're like, why would you even post that? It was just kind of polling the audience, what they think about aggression. Are they there yet? That's all it was. I picked the wrong quarterback. No big deal. I have no problem making myself and throwing out dumb ideas on X. It's X. But the main mission is I am QB hunting. These guys just want to buddy up to Goff and get him to talk to him. I want a QB hunt and solve the problem. Remember, here's my qualifications. Ben Raven, the great MLive writer, wrote 12 things that kind of was alarming this year. He said, maybe we should have paid attention to that first game when the Lions tanked it and played horrible against the Packers. Well, did somebody challenge Dan Campbell about his offense that first week? Yeah, it was pretty alarming. Yeah, it was not just your bad average game. They couldn't call an offensive play. So I raised the alarms right away for you. I raised the alarms before the first season. A daily training camp podcast told you guys the offense wasn't looking right from training camp. Everybody said, wait. The Slappy said, wait. Maybe it means the defense is awesome. Wait. I said, no, guys, the offense stinks every single day in this training camp. And I said, then I threw out, maybe they should have kept Tanner Engstrand. Maybe they should have went different with John Morton. Maybe that running game might not be as good. So you can come here to have conversations about things that are real. Now, of course, we also talk about the positives. We love when Dan Campbell quickly moved on from John Morton's play calling. Why, KB? I just caught your podcast. Stay away from the front row this week. Oh, my little raspy voice. Why should I stay away from the front row this week? I didn't do anything that bad. What'd I do? Did I say something flippantly? What did I do, KB? So remember, you have to be somebody that's willing to raise alarms and think outside the box. So we complain, and we are trying to find the next quarterback for the Detroit Lions. I was jealous. What? Zolly, you saw a mock draft with Beck? What? I did one too. What? I did one too. Carson Beck. That's not my QB hunting. That's not my final lockdown. This is the guy, but I threw him in there. Check it out. Mock draft. I did one over the weekend. Matt Broder, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hopefully the pregnancy's going great. Hopefully everything's going on pace, brother. Matt Broder lied to you guys. No, I'm just kidding. Matt Broder sold that hope. But listen, hopium's good. It's good. A little bit of hopium's good to combat whatever this is. Let me tell you, Matt Broder lied to all you people. He kept selling the hope. No, I'm kidding. He definitely this year on his Sunday show, which I caught 90% of them, brought it. Matt, what's the first step to get back? We've complained a lot. Matt, what's the first step? It's clearly getting the offensive line retooled. I think, Matt, honestly, they got to call Frank Ragnow and beg. Frank, come back. Any kind of fool can see Brad was wrong. Come back, Frank. Please just come back and correct your wrongs for leaving this high and dry. And you were wrong. Nah, you weren't wrong. Listen, it's a lens. Your lens is still clear. The older you get, the lens gets a little bit darker and a little bit meaner. That's just the way it is. You're only, 5 years into this kind of lens? My lens is dark. My cold, dark heart. You didn't sit there, Matt. The reason why you say, okay, John, why are you like that? You didn't sit there in the stands and watch the team battle back against the Vikings in 2005 and 6, and they're 1 point from tying the game and they botch an extra point. Sit in the stands and watch the emotions and see how you feel afterwards. Oh, I'll never forget that. They botched the extra point to tie a game late to lose. Matt, they got to fix the offensive line. You know that. And they got to draft a quarterback. The Rodgers, Packers, Brett Favre plan is in effect. Make sure you guys check out at Matt Broder all over social media, Woodward Sports. He does a great job. A great perspective that you always want to hear. And Mr. Matt Broder, please remind Mr. Terry Foster that he needs to kind of scream louder about his snow bunny plan. Terry Foster and Dr. Umar broke it down on how the snow bunnies are wrecking Michigan head coaches. High quality. Was that you, Matt, that was bestowing upon us the virtues of Sharon Moore on your broadcasts there a couple years ago? Did you know? Matt's like, yeah, I knew. Yeah, I knew. Did you hear the whispers? Clearly getting offensive line figured out. Obviously, Linderbaum is out there. Ding, ding. Yes, we've said here, Matt. Free agent, pay for the offensive line, draft the defensive line, help. Yes, absolutely. Linderbaum is out there. Cade and Edwards on Buffalo would be nice. You know what's up. Absolutely. My opinion, spend on the offensive line free agency and draft the defensive end and help for Tyleik Williams. Even Matt knew. I knew a few things behind the scenes, but not the extent of what blew up. Matt's like, I'm hearing something. Matt's like, we moved on now. On to Kyle Winningham. We've moved on. I would move on pretty fast too. Matt, really, in the end, it's kind of funny as friends. Michigan and Michigan State mirrored each other in debauchery. What the hell? Dr. Larry Nassar, Dr. Robert Anderson, Sharon Moore, Mel Tucker. No, and then I get in trouble for going, wait a minute, Michigan cheats, slap on the wrist. Michigan State cheats, major recruiting violation. I'm like, oh, can we just kind of even it out and get the same penalty? Michigan's like, we're guilty. But I get it. They want to prove a case against Mel Tucker to save that $90 million. I get it. They fell on the sword. Oh, hey, it's Jessica. Can you please explain to these Bear fans how easy their schedule is? They're one and done in the playoffs, right? Listen, it doesn't matter. You play who's on your schedule. Every week is different. I mean, they played the Eagles. They just played the 49ers. Yeah, it's an easier schedule. But it is a little bit overblown. Week to week, the Lions lost to the Vikings. That's why the schedule game is always fun, because we always do the biased, well, win-loss. You lost to the Vikings twice. You lost to a quarterback that threw for less than 10 yards, net yards. Yeah, but the Bears are not Super Bowl favorites. It's the 49ers and the Seahawks and the Rams. The Bears are new money. All right, what's at stake for the Lions against the Bears? One mission and one mission alone: lose. Lose that game. There is no purpose. My question to Dan Campbell today is going to be, would be either Amon-Ra St. Brown. How's he doing? What level of play are the starters going to see this game? And there was a great question thrown in the chat about evaluations from, a lot of good questions about what Dan Campbell could answer. I think that probably the stuff he's going to answer will be next week when he has his final media session. But the mission this week, the great question about eval was from DM5 TV. He said, how much evaluation are you going to do this week? Does that also involve Jared Goff? How much evaluation are you doing, even the quarterback? He wants me to slyly kind of throw in there, is Jared Goff being evaluated? That might be a Wednesday question. Why is Jared Goff still your guy? I mean, it's got to be phrased differently, but it's very good. This is a week where you can evaluate a lot of players. What level of evaluation can you get from this week? And does that also involve evaluating Jared Goff? Who would be like, we evaluate everybody every week. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Thomas Rowe. The evaluation was the last month. Gusta Shaw, play all the starters, IDAGF. Wrong. Here's why. Here's what happens. The Lions currently enter week 18 at number 15 in the draft because their strength of schedule is pretty weak. If they lose, they could go up as high as 12, but they need the Falcons to beat the Rams and the Bucks. Excuse me. They need the Falcons to win their final 2 games, starting with the Rams. The Bucks have to beat the Panthers and the Cowboys. Sorry, let me say that one more time, a little slower, as I take my notes here, my scribbles on my notepad. If the Lions lose, you can move up to 12th. Falcons need to win, which is tough, both games. Tonight, they play the Rams. The Bucks would have to beat the Panthers and be the NFC champs, NFC South title champs. And you'd need the Cowboys to beat the Giants, which is pretty easy. If the Lions improve to 9-8, they could fall to 18th. Here's what a 4th place schedule gets you. Okay? A 4th place schedule is luscious. You play the Giants instead of the Commanders, the Titans instead of the Colts, the Cardinals instead of the Rams, Seahawks, or 49ers. Can I interest you in a little bit of Arizona Cardinals? Can I interest you in a little bit of Tennessee Titans? Can I interest you in a little bit of New York Giants? If the Lions win or tie and the Vikings lose to the Packers, the Lions finish 3rd in the North. I do not want to interest you in the Commanders, Colts, and either the Rams and the Seahawks or 49ers. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to the play all the starters crowd? If you win, you go down in the draft and you face potentially tougher competition. If you lose, you potentially move up in the draft, maybe even as high as 12. Tell me again, Gusto? Come on, you can't fight me. Sit Jared Goff, sit Amon-Ra, sit everybody. Everybody sits. Everybody sits, Gusto. Everybody sits. Amon-Ra, we're going to find out what his injury level is. Could you imagine if an injury happens in this meaningless game and the Lions have to miss potentially an Amon-Ra for next year? Whatever it may be. Are you kidding me? Dan Campbell would not survive it. Mike Cove, 86, you are humbly correct. You are on the right side of history, my friend. Sewell, Hutch, St. Brown, Goff, and Gibbs, they should not sit. Mysteriously, they hang out with Broder and they get the flu. Shout them out. Dan on Friday, man, I don't know what happened. The guys went out with this Matt Broder cat. Nice guy. Seems to like us, and they all got the flu. Illness. 15 guys all of a sudden got an illness. Hey, you could sell that. The Detroit Lions have 35 guys with an illness. And to the fan that said, I'll sit in the front no matter what I say. I own it. They can rip me for it. But in the end, when you raised the alarm after week 1 of the season, it was because I saw a great offense in Ben Johnson's last year. And I'm like, that didn't look like that. It should have been, the goal should have been to repeat it. Now, their offense was good, but because the offense was good against bad opponents, when they faced good opponents, there was no running attack. There was no creativity. The defensive line of the opponents were able to dictate to you what they needed to do. Remember, it's a tale of 2 seasons, 8 wins, 8 losses. The 8 wins were the playoff team. They were pretty good. They peaked against the Ravens. That's when they peaked. Momentum was carried from the Bears game to the Ravens game. They peaked. And after that, all the injuries hit and the teams figured them out. The Chiefs exposed the Lions. Double A gap blitzes through the middle of the offensive line, confuse the hell out of the offensive line that's inexperienced, and make Jared Goff move. Not necessarily sack him, pressure him. Guys, remember, when I was screaming about Jared Goff last year, I said, this is the formula. The problem was when you have a bad schedule, not everybody can execute the Brian Flores plan. I went on Crunch Time Sports and spent an hour last year before the Vikings game in week 18 and said, Brian Flores scares me. He can expose Jared Goff. It didn't happen that game, but it happened the 2 games this year. Brian Flores blitzed the living hell out of the Lions. But Jared Goff's good against the blitz. Well, not when your offensive line stinks. Jared Goff looked confused, out of sorts. Footwork was out of place. And that's the secret. A-gap blitzes, confuse the offensive line, and limit the explosiveness of Jahmyr Gibbs. Less than 40 yards a game in the losses for Jahmyr Gibbs. You want to pay Jahmyr Gibbs $40 million? Give it to Linderbaum. Give it to, the Let Brad Cook crowd. Maybe they should have told him he should have got Joe Tooney for a 4th round pick. The Bears rebuilt their offensive line in 1 year. 1 offseason. Yeah, the secret's there. It's not that hard. The Super Bowl. It's right there. The formula is right there. The problem is not many teams can execute it. They can't execute it because if you have some offensive linemen, you can disrupt the pace of the pass rush. Incorrect. Oh, hey, it's Jessica. A mobile QB would not survive on this O-line. Incorrect. It's not mobile QB, an athletic QB that can evade the pocket. And guess what? There were a half a dozen plays where there was an open tight end or an open receiver that would have been an explosive play, but because Goff has happy feet when he's running, he doesn't also see the open receiver. An athletic quarterback means when we say Goff is not athletic, it means that when he's on the run and he throws it, that's like Broder in the 9th inning trying to save a game. Just a bit outside. When he started the game, it's pretty good. 90-mile-an-hour fastball control. 8th inning Broder's a little different. Goff on the run doesn't see the open receivers. Goff on the run is not as prone to make the best play possible consistently. Now, yes, there are plays where, he extended a play and he saw, even against the Vikings. But consistently, like you saw in the Vikings-Bears game, you need a quarterback that with this offense, with this season, Brock Purdy would have won you 12 games. With this offensive line, Brock Purdy could have gotten you, let's be realistic, 10, 11 games. Goff cost you 1 or 2. Not the problem solely, but you are never going to build an all-pro left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. You guys think the offensive line is not going to get hit with injuries next year? It's coming. I'm going to predict it. My preview, no matter who they sign, is going to say that the defense was hit last year with injuries. This year it's going to be, until they change the medical staff, this year the offensive line is going to be hitting. Steve, why do you hate? I don't hate Goff. I don't hate Goff. $50 million a year, 5 years in, and the team went, I don't hate Goff. I hate results. Super Bowl, NFC championship game bound, half away from getting there. 5 turnover beast shows up for Goff against the Commanders to no playoffs. Goff is 30% of the problem. I don't hate Goff. I think you can win 1 with Goff. You can. But I want Patrick Mahomes. Period. That's what I want. You guys may like Stafford and Goff and Hendon Hooker and all that. I don't want that. I'm hunting. I'm only day 4 of my hunt. I am looking for generational. I want all the headlines, all the MVP votes, all the attention. I want Matt Broder to come back to Allen Park and box me out when the quarterback talks, like he did when we were reporting together. I want Broder to say, I can't miss my quarterback's talk. And he sees me standing in front of Goff, in front of this next quarterback, and he boxes me out and says, sorry, I get the interview, not you. I want all the headlines. I want my quarterback talking on McAfee and every inch of his move. Oh, Jared Goff, let's just use this next QB that I'm hunting for. He went to Chicken Shack on a Sunday. Someone follows him. Jared Goff went to Chicken Shack and got some ribs. Yes, very greedy. Very greedy. Why not? I want greatness. And why not search for it? I don't hate Jared Goff. I like Jared Goff. He's the perfect bridge quarterback. Perfect. You can get one with him, but good luck. You got to build a perfect team. Yes, you do. And please don't let them get hurt. Can't deny that, Doc. Can you agree that no team with Super Bowl aspirations would want to replicate this offensive line? No, not at all. It makes it tougher. The goal of this team and any team is to stabilize their offensive line and execute with structure. Absolutely. Nobody wants this offensive line. Sometimes you fall into it. Nobody wants their all-pro center to retire. Nobody wants their all-pro left tackle to be struggling with a shoulder injury all year long. But you can't build 5 all-pros. Exactly. People were right. Hand-painted Bud. As soon as Laporta went down, fans said over for Goff and over for the team. Remember, guys, and Matt knows this. I'm not afraid to say it. You always have to, and I've said it loud and proud in a lot of interviews. When people would say, why do you doubt Jared Goff? I said, the 5 turnover beast is inside. Sometimes it's dormant, but it's in there. The next time it comes out, I will tell you, is in the Super Bowl for the Lions. It's just the way it goes. The 5 turnover beast is coming to the Lions in the Super Bowl. Best badass defensive ends. Everyone's going to watch the 2025 season. It's coming. What? The 5 turnover beast always there. You can deny that it's there, but the doc knows how to diagnose it. It came out once against the Commanders and once against the Vikings. And guess what? Happens to be the most critical games. What? The 5 turnover beast lies within your quarterback. It's there. When's it come out? Oh, don't you worry. Every playoff game, I'm going to remind you that 5 turnover beast could come and bite you. Brandon Robinson, $4.99 super chat. A little bit off topic. Why are fans questioning if they will sign Branch? Hasn't he signed hurt players who aren't proven? Because now people are wondering, well, if it means that you can't sign Jack Campbell or it means you have to let go of somebody else, wait a minute. You know, people don't want to listen. Nobody wants to buy and invest in a player that potentially is going to be hurt. And, you know, you got to wait and see. Like even they did with Aiden. They waited and saw he got a handful of sacks and they said, okay, he's back. So you're questioning it because of the injury. That's real money. That's real capital investment. So I don't think he gets extended. And plus his compadre, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to soak up all the money. Him and Jack Campbell getting paid in America. I wouldn't pay Jahmyr Gibbs. No, I wouldn't pay him at all. You got him for 26, 27, franchise tag 28, draft somebody else. I love Doc, but he's off on this. And like I said, I probably am the lone wolf in regards to my quarterback evaluations. But I said don't pay Stafford in 2017. And I didn't say blame and who. I just said I don't feel like you're going to get a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford. And it might have been because of the formula, the team, whatever. Me being a former season ticket holder, I just said this doesn't feel like a recipe for a Super Bowl. And I see the same thing with Jared Goff. Not his fault. It's just I don't see the recipe. I have doubts. I see the 5 turnover beast. I see teams figuring them out. I see that you got to have a lot of perfect things, but that can still happen. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I just want to kind of ease it up a little bit and get a little bit better of a quarterback. That's all. And to me, and I think that's where my difference is a guy like Matt is pro player. I'm pro team. If I sense anything better, I'm cutting the guy and getting somebody else. That's all. Just a little different philosophy. I like the players, but if I sniff anything better, I think there is in this draft to develop, but I'm still evaluating quarterbacks. That's just me. And I love the fact that we can have debates about it. Not everybody has to have the same opinion. And I love that you guys are supporting your quarterback. That's fair. I'm just different. I just want one of one. I want the best because that's what we haven't had. We've had Stafford. I've seen 12 years of that. We had the, Mike McMahon. We've had the low of the low. We've had the Joey Harrington bust draft pick. We've had the upper echelon talent that couldn't get over the hump in Stafford. Now we've had the guy that resurrected his career. Why haven't we had a Mahomes yet? Shouldn't we deserve one? 49ers had Montana. Chiefs get Patrick Mahomes. Patriots got Tom Brady. That's all I'm searching for. And it's no disrespect to Jared Goff. Now, Woodward Sports put out a Jared Goff is a top, and I threw in there 32, meaning he's a starter. They didn't put he is the. I think Jared Goff is around ranked a top 15 quarterback. Top 15. Better than half the others. When he goes south, he goes south. He's top 15. 10 to 15. 10, 11, whatever you want to slot him. I want one. I want the universal Joe Namath, Colt Warren, guy that wants all the media attention, guy that has the swagger, guy that will, if you have 6 offensive linemen hurt, the next 6 will be like, we're going to win because it's just universally so much more talented than everybody else. I want someone to change the game. Change the game quarterback is what I want. That's what I want. Wrong, Broder. That's not true. See, this is why I'm on QB hunting day 4. Are you on the QB hunt? How many quarterbacks have you scouted? How many scouts have you texted? Doc, if there was someone better out there that could step in day 1 and next year and produce better than Goff, I'd scream at the mountaintop. But there's no one. We cannot say that. There are 40 quarterbacks that we are now going to evaluate. We cannot say that. Matt, I want you to follow my ex at Detroit Podcast because I've told you that there was a team back in 2016 that decided that drafting at 15 was not good enough. It wasn't good enough. They made a blockbuster trade and they moved up to number 1. That team was the Los Angeles Rams, and that team chose Jared Goff. At that time, when they made the move, it was the highest spot to move up to number 1. Could the Lions do that for Mendoza or more? I'll let you know. Mendoza loves Tom Brady. Moore, hometown guy. Can't say that. You haven't done the work. You're giving your opinion. I have also given my opinion, but now I've said that I'm going to do the work and I will evaluate from top to bottom because I've done the talking. Now I'm going to find the solution. So we can't say that. That's your opinion. Could be a good one, but I'm aggressive. I don't give a flying F. I'm willing to go from 15 number 1 for a quarterback. If I see and get all the puzzle pieces, I have no problem saying go up to number 1 and get Mendoza and let him sit. Quarterback's the biggest position in the league, Matt. So you can't just settle and say Goff's the best. Goff's the best of what your eyes have seen. I've seen a lot better. My eyes have seen a lot better in the quarterback world. And I want that. So what's at stake for the Lions? Lose. Part of the reason why we're talking about Jared Goff is the offensive line that his general manager gave him stunk. Brad Holmes stopped cooking. So I remember a lot of networks, a lot of people said, don't talk about Brad Holmes. He took you from the irrelevancy to the mountaintop. You got to the playoffs. Well, there's a issue at hand. He needs to bring you a Super Bowl. Now he has to go from good to great, which is very hard to do. But Brad Holmes stopped cooking. Meaning, and I laid it out perfectly in English terms that all of you can understand in an article earlier today. meaning he's only drafted 13 players in 2 years. What? That doesn't give you enough depth. That doesn't give you enough players to overcome injuries. He missed on a lot of them. So when, you deal with all these injuries, it all collapses like a house of cards. What happened? A great analyst and numbers dude shared it out there publicly. And I'm like, oh, this is what it means. So my job is to take information and decipher it and share with the peeps. Here's what it means. This fine website, Detroit Lions NSI. Go right over here. You scroll. Boom. Brad Holmes, stop cooking. This photo is just legendary because it just encapsulates all the things that tell you that we're not happy with Brad Holmes. He's got to be like, take that photo down, USA Today. It just, every time there's a photo, an article about Brad Holmes, this one hits and it just tells the story. So here's what happened. Brad Holmes told you that we liked our first 3 drafts. We built our core. We don't need to draft anymore. After the branch selection in 2023, his drafts have been horrible. The 23 draft is great from 1 through 4. The next 4 were terrible. And 24 and 25 indicate a general manager that says, we're good. Brad Holmes didn't say into a microphone, we're good, but his draft attitude and his actions said we're good. According to the 33rd team researcher, Al Karsten, the Lions have made just 13 draft picks in the last 2 drafts, tied for second fewest in the league. He stopped picking. He stopped cooking. Only the Vikings have drafted less. And that dude, Quasi Adolfo Mensa, is ripped to shreds. The Ravens had 20 picks. 8 teams make 19. Arizona, Buffalo, Green Bay, Raiders, New England, Philly, Seattle, San Francisco, Houston, Jacksonville, Chargers. Most teams had at least 16 picks. Right there. That's all you need to know. Brad stopped cooking. He's like, we're good. I like my peoples. I love my peoples. He fell in love with his own guys. Read it right there. Brad stopped cooking. When Brad stopped cooking, the Lions stopped winning. The Lions stopped winning. He stopped cooking. He stopped drafting. You can't go with 13 picks in 2 years. You can't maneuver all these picks to move up for Isaac Tesla. And I put on X, he had a quote that said, a lot of these people's philosophy is right now, right now, right now. We have the opportunity to take chances and get developmental guys. Are you kidding me? This is win now situation. This is now. We are in now mode. Your general manager put you here. So what happened? There's the recipe for a regression. You think your draft was good after 3 years. You built a core. You didn't do enough externally in free agency and the draft, and you missed on a lot of guys. First, as always, we always credit him from getting us to irrelevant to relevant. Great. But now when we go, how did Brad do getting us from playoffs to a Super Bowl? Terrible. Terrible. You regressed. Not enough preparation for Frank Ragnow moving on. 13 draft picks. A lot of them are developmental. And you can't have a guy like Mekhi Wingo sitting on the bench as a healthy scratch. You can't have Tyrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw out there when you could have had Cooper Beebe instead of Ennis Rakestraw. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. Brad Holmes now must morph this offseason into a general manager. He was an experienced head scout. Now, 5 years in, he did good work. He got you from irrelevant. Now, to go from mediocre to Super Bowl, free agency, got to nail it. Got to stop paying your own people. Figure out who to be a little shrewd with. Might have to be Gibbs. You didn't have to pay Kirby Joseph. You didn't have to pay J-Mo. You didn't have to pay all these people. Some of that money could have went to a Max Crosby or another position. Maybe you use those extra 3 third-rounders. You get a Jalen Phillips who can pressure the quarterback. Did you see him pressure the quarterback yesterday? That was him on the Eagles. Good enough for the Eagles, but you don't have a third-round pick. Brad stopped cooking, and the kitchen lit on fire. And the fire was all those injuries, because when you needed them, the Legion of Whom is cute, but that's not going to win you a Super Bowl. Those 6 draft picks, Hendon Hooker, Mekhi Wingo, Ennis Rakestraw, Giovanni Manu. Those are your depth pieces that you needed to have when your guys go down. Brad Holmes stopped cooking and it hurt your team. Point blank, period. And he better learn from it. You know he is. He is. You can't skip the tools. Thomas is scaring the crap out of me. I'm telling you, they are going down with Jared. Going down with Jared. Maybe. All about the offensive line. No, it's also about the defensive line that was healthy that blew up. Shout out to Mr. Hassanin Mahdi. Hi, Doc. We're just talking what happened and the end of the year mission. Lose. Better schedule, better opportunity. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Maybe this week you drop that little flag. Let us know the secret. Maybe we doubt it, but maybe, inshallah, Ahmed plays this week. Let us know. Make sure we're the first to know. The little flag in a comment. Thomas, Dan's press conference after the loss said he felt bad for not helping Jared. Yeah, it's not helping him at all in terms of the skills. DM5 knows. Doc, what I've noticed is most fans are slappies. I get it. They still believe in Jared and Brad and Dan, but that's okay. One day, maybe their eyes are open. What do you mean their eyes are open? I made sure I forced their eyes open. There is somebody in the media that's going to raise the alarms. I'm thankful it's me. Now, maybe I turn up the volume on the alarm to like a 25 when it should be like at an 18. But after game one, your friendly podcaster asked Dan Campbell, I like 24's offense a lot better. In so many words. And it's not easy to do. I didn't spit it out properly because I think that was might have been the first time I directly challenged Dan Campbell. It's not easy to do. He also has psychologically positioned himself to be 6 foot taller than me in the media room. But I asked him, I powered through and I said, is it feasible you run last year's offense? He's like, what the hell are you talking about? But in the end, they did against bad teams. But against the good teams, they couldn't win the trench battles. They couldn't run the ball because their scheme was terrible. Because the offensive coordinator, who I told you got fired from the Jets because he couldn't put together a run scheme. Who told you that? Who put a picture up twice in the season and said, the biggest concern for John Morton is going to be, can he get a run game going? He flopped in New York. So give me a follow and keep, when you start noticing slappies, come visit Lions on SI. We'll also have some alarms and some things to talk about that are raised that you need to be concerned about. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why this season went astray. Dan hired the wrong coordinators. Brad Holmes didn't cook. He stopped cooking. Now, it's real simple. Brad Holmes has to use all the tools. Free agency, hit the center from the Ravens, pay. Restructure Goff, get the $50 million. Restructure somebody else, restructure St. Brown, whoever you got to get these $60 to $70 million and start shopping, start spending. Remember, some people told me that draft and develop was good enough. Guys like me were like, get Max Crosby, get this guy, get that guy. You guys were like, no, it's not reasonable. It's not those. What happened? I was told that not being aggressive in free agency would get you to a Super Bowl. They weren't even willing to throw out different names because I wanted the best. Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Hendrickson. I want more. Simple as that. Y'all, the Slappies told me that was good enough. The Slappies said, don't worry, they don't need to do it. The Slappies echoed the Lions. We're good. My opinion, and it's been that way for 15 damn years. You're never good until Dan Campbell, which I think he will one day, might be in the 60s, but he will one day hoist the Lombardi trophy, and then we're good. Until then, why didn't they win by more? Why didn't they get the better player? They drafted 15th. Why didn't they draft 14th? Why didn't they make a better pick? We'll pick apart every single move until that Lombardi trophy is put in the hands of the Lions. They are a team that's not been there. You haven't arrived. And now I'm guilty of it too, but that was just fun on social media. Pissing off the Dolphins fans and pissing off the Rams fans last year. That was fun. But in the end, doing that, when they whooped our ass, they're right back in our comments, which I think is fun. But I was wrong. We acted like we arrived when they had done jack squat. It was fun to do because we were the laughingstock. We were the scum of the NFL for so long, but that was wrong to do. And plus, the slappies are loud. They're like, get on board, get on board. It's fine. It's fine to be positive. Get on board. You won't be hurt. Hell no. Now I'm just going to get louder. But luckily, I kind of kept it. I think I was 60-40 negative this year. And I have other guys that can write the positive stuff to balance it out. Those slappies are loud and they're judgmental. But when it comes time to it, when they get disappointed, they run and hide. We stand here right in the fire and say, yes, I asked for Jared Goff to be traded for Baker Mayfield. And yes, I'd give 2 first-rounders for it. It probably is crazy. But what's the worst that could happen? They don't get to the playoffs? They go 8-8? They go 6-10? What's the damn difference? Same shit that you have now. The NFL, guys, remember, the Lions have about 45 new players from 3 years ago. Basically, the first level 1 window is closed. Now you got to get new players. What do you guys think? Oh, here's the last banner, last 5 minutes. I am on a mission not to just say Jared Goff can be replaced. I'm going to find somebody. Might not be this year. It might not be next year, but I will declare in an article that the Detroit Lions need to have a quarterback. I will declare that I'm looking for this quarterback. What does that mean? Like I said earlier, what does this QB hunting thing mean? As I get this banner corrected. Every single day, I'm going to share a little nugget of what I'm reading. I first declared that I'm not happy with Jared Goff. And then I said, okay, that's fair. You've said that before, nothing new. But then I said, I need to go on a search for the next, and I put it publicly on X before Mike Valenti, before anybody steals it. I said, the plan is, okay, most of you are not going to want to move on from Goff. You have an attachment to him. That's fine. The plan is, first of all, does anybody want to trade him? Now, that was 80-20 no. That's fine. I polled the audience. I got told what the pulse of the fan base is. You don't want to trade Goff unless it's for Lamar or Burrow, but most of you don't. I said, okay, these people don't want that. They want a quarterback that's going to be drafted. And I said, okay, I'm on a QB hunt. Now, a quarterback has come available in free agency, but I think he's going to be a starter. But I'm going on a hunt, and then now in my 4 days, I've kind of put together what I think I want in a quarterback. Mid-round, 5th or 6th, that's going to be gritty, that is going to sit behind Jared Goff and learn for the next 3 years, and that's got to be athletic, got to have a decent arm from a good conference, and has a little bit of grit in their story. But I'm also balancing that out with, I think that's the plan. I am openly debating, publicly saying the Lions should trade up for Mendoza or more. I am evaluating those 2 quarterbacks. I don't care about draft picks. Y'all can hoard them like they're crack. I don't care about draft picks. I just showed you Brad picked 13 of them and half of them flopped. But Doc, we need them to rebuild. No, you don't. Pick 1 or 2 that you need to do them, and you can buy in free agency what you need. You built your core. Now it's time to F them picks. I am willing to move up to number 1. I don't care. 1, 2, 3 first rounders. I don't care. F them picks is my motto. You guys hoard them for guys that you are 50% odds to help you. Some say they're not available. I'm saying I have not evaluated them yet. I've now sent the text out to scouts and I say, what do you think about Mendoza? What do you think about Moore? What do you think about the Clemson quarterback? What do you think about the Alabama quarterback? What do you think about this guy? And now they're starting to reply. A lot of them are joking around with me about that nonsense trade I put out on X. I said, yeah, it's just, it's X. I mess around there. I've messed around there for 15 years. I don't care about public scrutiny. Clearly, I'm fine. I'm good. That's why I'm a lone wolf. The lone wolf comes up with ideas. And Brad, actually, in the end, if you hate me, Brad Holmes activated me. It was like magic. It was like he was really talking to me. He said he sits in a meeting room and he says he likes listening to people. And he's like, yeah, most people will kind of go with the mean. They'll say, yeah, we like Jared. We like Jared. Yeah, we like Jared. Yeah, we like Jared. Yeah, we like Jared. We like Jared. And he's like, if there's one person that will sit in the corner and be like, well, think about this, the lone wolf that will think differently. He's like, I respect that. That's me. That's what I just think about anything. I don't settle. I'm never happy. And I'm also going to try to throw out a solution. Hey, it's better than everybody just saying it's not there. I'm going to try to find the quarterback of the future. And I have a chance to succeed because they won't draft him. And then I just need that player to shine somewhere else. That I can say, aha, I told you guys. But the quarterback position is the number one position in the league. I don't care about the offensive line. It's the number one position in the league. Of course, offensive linemen are important, but we shall find, hopefully, in free agency, guys that have shown that they can play the position. You got a left tackle in Penei Sewell. You probably got the left guard in Mahogany or Frazier. You probably got the center in Tate Ratledge or Linderbaum in free agency. You probably got the right guard in Ratledge. But you can always upgrade more in the draft. Maybe you get Proctor. So, but the quarterback position, how do I know the quarterback position is the most important? You pay the damn guys $50, $60 million. That tells me importance level. Pay the quarterback. It's not easy to just say, the slappies are like, just wave a magic wand and fix the offensive line. Yeah, good luck with that. Barry Sanders is still waiting for that. Barry, you got 1 year. I think I remember me and Broder were like, damn, this offensive line's never going to play together healthy. Remember 2 years ago? They're never healthy. You just wave a magic wand. I think it's easier to get the quarterback than it is the offensive line, in my opinion. A quarterback that can deal a little bit, get the ball out, screen game, has explosive weapons, has the opportunity to, if the offensive line has a misplay, can just one little evasive move and get the ball out. Is that like a Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy? Maybe even better. Jackson Dart. I think it might be easier to fix the defensive line than it is the offensive line. Oh, you guys are throwing out names. Should we steal from the Bears? Tyson Bagent. I'm also researching him. I threw that name out there. What about Malik Willis? He's going to be a starter. I lit up the chat with this conversation. Would you make an offer for Malik Willis? Is Malik Willis is Caleb Williams already better than Jared Goff? Some of you saying are Milton. A lot of you say research Jaden Maivia. He's on my list. I am hunting for a quarterback, and I hopefully can bring you one that will be a good developmental quarterback for the Lions. Maybe I can line it up where someone inside that building tells me who it is. But thank you guys for listening. It was good hour and 15 minutes. Good starting topics. Shout out, roll call. Where's everybody listening in from? Dom Yusuf, Liddell, Saki, Dom Yusuf, Dr. Detroit, Steve O baby. I know you're always mixing it up in the chat. I love it. I love Steve Wiles and your passion. Love Matt Broder. Gumby, Jerry Thor, Dolo Dynamite, the legend, DM5, legend. Thank you guys for listening. This is what you can comment on today. Listen, here's how you should conceptualize it. X is just my potpourri thoughts at the time I think it. I was sitting with my nephew yesterday watching football, and I'm like, I always treated X like if we were sitting at the water cooler or at the bar and we had 2 drinks in us and we were just shooting the breeze, what will we say? I just air it. And so at the time I tweeted it, I was thinking, man, the Rams got to a certain point and then they moved on from Goff and they got in Stafford. And so I said to my nephew, is there a quarterback out there that they just should think about? And then we were looking at Baker Mayfield and I said, he's okay. He was okay with Liam Cohen and Dave Canales. Why not? I said, and then I don't think about it too much. I do not put a lot of thought into X. X is a circus. X is where Pimp Daddy Amon-Ra St. Brown's huge balls message. Okay. This is where I put a little bit more thought into my operation. And then the reporters still haven't figured it out yet. For 15 years, I've just tweeted nonsense. It's nonsense. It's a nonsense place. So you act nonsensical. But there's a theory behind it, which is if I think it, I'm just going to tweet it. No filter. And I knew once I tweeted it, people would talk about it. And it opens people to judging me, which I don't care. Because like I said, I'm already in my career, 7 years in. I'm pretty fine. I'm stable. I built something. So people don't understand that. I can't be fired. I have streams of income from 9 places. So that's why a guy like me can tweet nonsense. It's just really my free-flowing brain. It's like potpourri. It's basically like if I said, "What should we cut Jared Goff?" Now, it's never really to that degree, but if I think it, I'll tweet it. That's my X account. It's just my free-flowing, what am I thinking at the time? At the very moment I'm kind of thinking it. I'm watching football. This is what I thought. My nephew messaged in on a couple things. I said, hey, I'll tweet it, nephew. No problem. He was like, did Jared, he wanted to throw out a conspiracy theory, so I threw that out there. Guys, it's nonsensical. It's not real. This, if you ever want to know something for real, no, I don't think the Lions are trading Goff for Baker Mayfield, but I would consider it. I'd consider doing a Rams trade for maybe a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen. I'd consider it. I would consider it. But it's not off of anything crazy. It's off of the Rams did it. They had success. I want to do it. It's not that serious. The Eagles have done stuff that's successful. I want to do that. I'm just copying what smart people do that win. F them picks. You think I just came up with John really smart and foreshadows how to build a Super Bowl? No, I like Les Snead doing it. I like that model. I like Brad Holmes taking from these 2 guys. Take from the Eagles, their aggressiveness. Take from the Rams and they're trading the quarterback and getting another one. That's it. So X, please don't judge me on X. Please. If you really, really are listening into this, one of the 500 people, when you see my face live or you talk to me in person, that's the real me. X is just like my thoughtful, provocative, thinking kind of brain out loud. That's what it is. That's really what it is. It's a shit show out there. So I like to throw out shit. Why would you throw out the shit show in the shit place? That's what it is. So thank you for at least understanding why I do it. I'll share it here on X. I just reply and be like, what do you mean? Like, I actually tried to defend it. Most of you said, okay, they consider a Goff for Mayfield trade, but they would never throw in 2 first rounders. I get it. That's probably smarter than what I came up with. So guys, I'm not crazy. I'm not an egomaniac. I'm just willing to throw out ideas and listen to what people say. And most of you actually, now the more that you know me, some people said, Doc, that's a little bit much of a trade. Even the scouts that text me back were like, what the hell is that? Because nobody's willing to publicly do that. Nobody wants to get heat for stupid things they say. I have no problem. I always tell people, they're like, that's the dumbest thing I heard. I say, wait till tomorrow. I might say something stupider tomorrow. But again, it's the intended spirit of when smart people think about things, they just sit in a room and like a wrestling writer's room. You're just sitting around in a room and you're like, all right, what are we going to do with John Cena tonight? Do we have him tap out? Do we have him win? Does he beat Gunther? Stuff like that. And sometimes I just share what's in my head at the time that I share it. But realistically, the real goodness is on this podcast and on the website. X is like, how to describe it? X is like the writer's room where half the shit gets cut off. But if you judge me off of it, it would come across like I'm a moron. So I do want the people I care about, you guys, to understand I am not a moron. It's the writer's room. It's the behind the scenes, like Saturday Night Live jokes where they're like, this joke could work. This joke could work. What about this concept? They're like, no, that concept's stupid. I'm just airing it. And if you just look a little deeper, if you ask yourself, okay, why would Doc ask that? If you want to know if it's realistic or not, ask. But thank you guys for listening. A good 80 minutes. The topics I want to know about in the comments. What do you think about, are you on team Matt Broder? Offensive line, don't worry about the quarterback. There are none. Team Doc, QB Hunt away, Doc. Lose. Do you want to see the starters? Yes or no? The 49ers game, what was your thoughts when you were watching that? Boy, was I jealous. Brad Holmes deserves a lot of blame for this mess. He stopped cooking, and I shared why. Can he fix it? Is there a quarterback you want the Lions to add? They're not trading Jared Goff. They're not cutting him. Do you want to develop one? Do you want to add a free agent to back him up? Do you want to make an offer for a Malik Willis or a Tyson Bagent? Those are my topics today. I think 4 or 5 good topics. I appreciate everybody listening in for this fine episode. Thank you. This podcast is made possible thanks to OnSI, the great platform that lets me be me, and they allow this podcast to take place and to be rewarding. I represent the Detroit Sports Podcast, founded in 2013. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I like doing this every day. This is fun. Matt finds me here. He still never texts me, but I think he likes me online. Merry Christmas, Matt, to you and your family. I can't wait. Don't forget, if you don't text me, the next text, make sure you send a picture of your healthy baby and let me know if things went well. Praying for you and your family always. Miss seeing you out there. I had a lot of fun. Kidding aside, disagreements aside, I had a lot of fun when Matt was in the room. Yeah, Doc's the man. Agree or disagree or whatever. He brings good conversation and treats people with respect. We'll always be grateful for his help when I started. You heard? And like I said, if you want to know about me, ask Matt. Matt got the full personality. And just as a fun note, I lied to Matt so much, it was hilarious. I would text Matt, and he was so nice, he believed it. I was the best stories I could ever tell is how I acted with Matt. I'd be like, Matt, man, you got to calm down. DJ Reader hates your guts. And he'd be like, why? and I felt so bad, but I kept doing it. It was funny because he kept believing it. I'm like, man, and then it just became a fun bit. But we had fun, and that's what it's about. Is he understood the message? He understood I'm not a dickhead. I'm a nice person, and I had a lot of laughs with Matt. We'd listen to some things, and we'd have the same kind of reaction, like, okay, we probably aren't going to get much out of that. And Matt's armpit was in my face all the time because I typically got in the position better than he did, but he's taller, so it was fun. We had a lot of fun. So if you want to really know about me, you can ask Matt Broder. I was my truest self with him because I knew I wanted to pay it forward. I knew I wanted to be treated different. I wanted him to be treated differently than how I was. And we laughed. We shared a lot of laughs. For the Doc, John Macaroon, this has been the Lone Wolves Podcast. Thanks for your time. Comment. I really want to hear what you want to say on these things. And let's start to see about this Detroit Lions team. Dan's going to talk around this time today. So listen in. I may go, I may not. It's an hour drive for me. So I went a little long on this, got to shower and get ready. Hopefully there's roads. If you don't hear I should fire off a question today, but they've not banned me. Last week was a vacation week. I stayed home, typed from home, but I should go but if the weather's bad, I may not. But I look forward to talking to you guys next week. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow or at the latest Wednesday on the next episode of the Detroit Lions Lone Wolves Podcast.